Many parents believe their child understands money, but the real test is not whether a child knows what money is. The real test is what the child does with the money the moment it enters their hands. Because something interesting actually happens. Two children can receive the exact same amount of money and make completely different decisions. One child spends everything, every single cent immediately. The other child keeps most of it. Same age, the exact same amount, which is $10, but completely different behavior. And this difference is not about the intelligence. The difference is money maturity. Financial maturity doesn't appear automatically with age. It develops step by step. In this video today, I want to show you a simple framework that I call the money maturity ladder. 5 stages that reveal whether your child understands money and whether they truly understand money or simply recognize it. Over the years, working with parents and children, I noticed something very, very consistent. Many parents tell me, Ernest, my child already knows about money and they are not wrong at all. That child can recognize money and the child knows how much things actually cost. The child can even count money 1, 2, 3. It is very elementary. But when the child actually receives the money, this is where the difference happens. The behavior becomes very different. For some of them, the money disappears immediately. The child buys things they already have, or buys something simply because it looks attractive at that moment. We call it the shiny object syndrome. And when you ask them, look, why did you buy it? They can't explain. What this tells us is something very important. Financial knowledge is not the same as financial maturity. Knowing what money is going to be very different from knowing how to use money wisely. Financial maturity is not knowledge. Financial maturity is decision capability. This is why I like to explain financial development using something I call the money maturity ladder. Because financial maturity develops in different stages. Children do not suddenly become wise with money. They do move step by step. There needs to be a scaffold. And there are 5 stages on this ladder. Stage 1, discernment. Stage 2, discipline. Stage 3, decision judgment. Stage 4, resource stewardship. And finally, stage 5, financial character. The important thing to understand is this. Children don't go and jump straight to stage 5. They do move gradually through the ladder. It is not that they can actually jump straight up the ladder anyway. Once you understand these stages, you can begin to see where your child might currently be. And that is the key takeaway point. Let me be very simple and give you one simple example. Something that happens in many schools in Singapore, and if it does happen in your country, do take it. Students are often dismissed at around 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon. They go to school pretty early at 7 plus, and sometimes before or after recess, these schools might give a snack break. At that moment, children usually have 2 options. They can either take the snacks from their home or they can actually buy the snacks in school from the school canteen. This might look like a very, very small decision, but it does reveal a fair bit about that child's financial maturity. So a child who plans ahead might bring snacks from home. This is what my children are trained to do. Yet at the same time, a child who spends impulsively may buy food every single day from the canteen, spending a little bit more than they might want to. Both children have the exact same opportunity, but the thinking process is quite different. Small decisions like this reveal big patterns. And by the way, if you find ideas like this helpful to help you raise financially responsible children, do consider liking this video, subscribing to the channel, because I share practical frameworks like this one here to help parents raise children who can eventually be masters over money not just looking at it and recognizing it. And of course, if you do have questions about your child's situation, feel free to leave them in the comments right below. I do read the comments and they often do inspire future videos. So now let me move to stage 1, discernment. The first stage of the money maturity ladder is discernment. This is the very beginning where a child starts to understand the difference between needs and wants. For example, a child may realize they don't actually need another toy, or they might realize that buying something could be optional. There could be other free options or cheaper options. This sounds very simple, but it is the start. It is the beginning of financial maturity. Because before a child can control spending, they first and foremost need to recognize what spending is truly necessary. This discernment is where the money maturity begins. Without this, they can't progress to stage 2, which is discipline. Discipline is the ability to delay gratification. Now, what does this mean in simple terms? The child doesn't spend immediately. They are able to wait. And you might want to check out the marshmallow experiment for this. The child can pause. They can choose not to buy something immediately, straight away. For example, my own children sometimes choose to bring snacks from home instead of buying snacks in school. It doesn't mean that they don't do it all the time. And the reason is this: for them, the snacks from home is free for them. This means they can keep their own allowance and they can then choose to put their own money into their own bank account. And over time, the bank pays them interest and no effort from myself and my wife. The interesting thing here is not the money. The interesting thing here is the thinking behind it. They are choosing a free option, and from that, they can preserve resources for later periods. That is discipline. Discipline protects money from impulse. We move on to the next stage, which is decision judgment. This is when a child begins evaluating alternatives before making a purchase. Instead of buying something immediately, the child asks questions. Is this worth buying now? Do I really need this? Is there something better that I can use my money for? Take, for example, a child might think about whether to buy the snacks today or to save that money for something that they want later on. At this stage, spending becomes a decision. It is not a reaction. Judgment turns into a decision-making process. And this leads to stage number 4, resource stewardship. At this very important stage, the child begins to protect and manage the resources that they have at their disposal. Instead of thinking only about today, they begin thinking about the future. They may save money intentionally. They may avoid unnecessary purchases. They may even start watching their savings grow, and it's very gratifying to see the amount in their jar grow bigger and higher. Money is no longer just something to spend. Money becomes something that they can manage. And this stewardship treats money as a resource. The final stage, which is the epitome of all the stages, is the financial character. At this stage, a child understands something deeper about money. Money is not purely used for spending. Money can also be used responsibly. This money can be used to give to the ones who are less fortunate. And when they do that, children begin to understand gratitude. They begin sharing. They begin choosing to help someone else. This money begins connected to values. And that is what completes the money maturity ladder. So by now, we can see something very clearly. Financial maturity is not about how much money a child has. It is about how the child thinks about money. Do they recognize wants and needs? Can they delay spending? Do they evaluate decisions? Do they protect resources? And eventually, do they develop financial character? Money maturity reveals itself through the choices, through the decisions that they make. And if you want to understand your child's financial maturity, you don't need a complicated lesson, honestly. You only need to do a simple observation. What can you do after this? Give your child a small amount of money. Whatever that amount is, you get to decide $5, $10, whatever it is. And then you watch what happens. Some children will spend every single cent immediately. Yes, I've got this money. I'm going to buy sweets. Or maybe they want to buy that shiny object that they always wanted. Yet at the same time, there might be other children that pause. They may choose to save it. They may choose to set aside a certain amount of it for future purchases. That exact same $10 or whatever amount that you have chosen to give your child sets aside their ideas. It completely shows their thinking. And that difference reveals where your child currently stands on the money maturity ladder. So here is a question you might want to think about. If your child received that $10 today, what would they actually do? If you know your child well enough, you know that one is going to spend it. That one is going to save it. That one is going to divide the money up and have a plan for it. Who knows? Your answer to your child might reveal more about your child's financial maturity than any lesson, than any workshop that you send your child to. Because mastering money starts with learning how to make better decisions, and those decisions begin as early in life as possible. That's it for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.